a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Guys, I'm gonna cry. I love this podcast so much.
But you hate this book so much.
It doesn't matter. No, it's like such a weird feeling because I just finished doing my pre-read of The Order of the Phoenix, and I hated it. It's 900 pages of awful. But like I've been getting so excited about getting to talk to my friends every week about how much I hate it. Like I love this podcast so much.
You're officially a Blink-182 song. You're sad, but you're happy to be sad, and so it actually comes off happy, even though, like, you're not, like, if you read the lyrics, you're not happy, but, like...
And you can find me at Warped Tour.
See, I was gonna say you're like Blink-182 because you're distinctly in your 30s, but you're fueled by 14-year-old angst.
It's true.
It works on so many levels.
Welcome to the restricted section. I feel like I can't stop smiling. I feel like you can hear it in my voice. Are you ready to get angsty?
Yes! Just me.
I don't have a lot of room for angst in my life right now, but I'm willing to indulge for purely this purpose.
Thank you so much. A big welcome back to emo kid number 1, Andrew. Say hello to the listeners, Andrew.
Hello.
That was stoner, not emo. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need to retake that.
He can't not take everything he does is stoner crossover, emo stoner crossover. He could be a male cheerleader stoner crossover. He can be on the color guard stoner crossover. Those are the only types of people. I don't know.
It's just the energy he brings.
Andrew, how was your summer?
My summer was fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course. Do you care to elaborate, or would you rather just leave us in this air of mystery?
Just take whatever you think would be fantastic and assume that it was that.
That's what he did. Can you imagine? He's so lucky.
Listener, fill in the blank, and you'd be amazed at how great I had a summer of. How great my summer was. That would be a normal human way to say that.
Grammar good. Grammar so good.
I'm shaking the dust off talking because I didn't talk all summer. That was the only rule is that you got to save all that material. And I didn't understand what Tina meant. I thought it sounded dumb, but that just meant I didn't talk all summer. So
he took a vow of silence.
You were on voice rest. That's what they call it in the industry.
The opposite of voice rest is yesterday I recorded all 38 episode intros for the whole season in one sitting, and I got to in the beginning I felt like I was doing a really cute podcast voice, Harry Potter, and then by the end I was like, serious dies in this one, guys, it's not gonna be good. I guess it matched the tone of the book. For
the listeners at home, everybody just made a face when she said that she recorded all of them in one go that was all equal parts horrified. Like everyone was the same amount of horrified.
Voice so good. I'm going to feel dumb the second I finish the sentence. Have any of you ever had to leave a party because you were talking so much that your voice was going?
No, because I'm an introvert.
I've never talked that much in my life.
I've talked that much in my life, like a lot of the days of my life.
I just don't understand why you would leave at that point. Like push through the
pain. Like
push through the pain.
No, it's like so annoying to like be in a social, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Anytime that happens, you can just find me and Haley will usually hit a point where we're sitting on the couch just nodding at each other, and like it's because we're at the same level of emotionally done with it.
Yep.
Come join us.
Maybe Jason with his guitar.
Yep.
Oh yeah. It's usually just me like getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can walk in a straight line and get home.
Oh, Haley, Mia's having a barbecue on Friday if you want to go. I mean, Brooke, you're invited too. I'm just making assumptions here.
This is the most full week I think I've had in years. I don't even know what I'm doing on Friday. But if
sweetie,
I'm not doing anything already,
oh, sweetie,
yeah, I hate
is your schedule full? Oh my god,
it's the worst.
That must
it's
be
actually
so
horrible
for you.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm not equipped for this. I'm like a southerner in Canada in winter. It's just, is it objectively the worst thing in the world? No, because the people that do it all the time are fine. I don't. So I'm not.
Are we going to get introduced? I
was just going to say, I don't know why I wrote introductions for this episode. Like, anyone doesn't know who you are. Like, we were going to talk for like 45 fucking minutes before I got to welcome back to Emo Kid number 2, Brooke. Say hello to the listeners, Brooke.
Fucking whatever, I guess.
How has your summer been?
Great. Been working on growing a human being, and that
Still
sucks.
Working on that, huh?
Still sucks.
Wow, we took a hiatus and came back and you're still pregnant.
Yeah, don't do it, kids. It sucks.
Don't do it, kids. You heard it here first. Actually, you heard it over on Content and Capable first when Sean and I did that episode about being child-free by choice. And a fucking welcome back to Emo Kid number 3, Haley. Say hello to the listeners, Haley.
Do I have to? Hi.
What was that?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that was.
I was going for my version of emo from back in the day, which was I just don't want to be here, because I never did, no matter where here was.
I forgot that blank stares don't read in a podcast format.
I think also maybe, Haley, you were just like an internet emo kid. I can't imagine you actually giving Bridget emo sass.
You'd be surprised.
Let's get Bridget on an episode. Let's get her to do the voices. Wait, Haley, would she? She has a government job. I don't know if she should.
No, I have actually asked her if she like would be interested in maybe reading like a Christmas chapter as like a bonus episode and like in the voice.
That would
sounds
be
lovely.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll talk about that off. We're doing a lot of off-air conversations on air right now, and that's just perfect. Haley, how has your summer been?
I've spent a lot of it staring at walls.
Okay.
But I did get some interesting antiques, so there's that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Christina. You probably know that already, and if you don't, welcome to the show. If you started listening to the restricted section over the summer while we were on hiatus and you've caught up to now, oh my god, welcome. You've made it. Unless it's next week and then you're still behind.
But you're so close. Even if
so
that's
close.
the case, you're so close.
But what if it doesn't matter.
You're like one bad commute away from being there.
In 2 years, someone's going to be starting at this point for some random person or get to this point and be like, I'm almost, oh, wait, no, not at all. Not at all. Just.
Guys, I've had like a really, really, really bad summer.
Oh, were you waiting for one of us to ask you? We're so rude.
No, I wrote in my notes, tell them you've had a bad summer. So I, too, am having an angsty, hairy summer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. My grandmother died. My family dog died. My husband's best friend died. More than a couple other people that I'm not mentioning in my life have died. How crazy is that? Everyone's been dying. And the brewery that I was working at closed. They ran out of money and shut the doors. So I'm unemployed. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I fucking thought that this is a great time to experiment with quitting alcohol. Fucking perfect.
Well, I guess at the very least, you've been able to fill the void by reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
My God, nothing has ever filled my void less.
So, Tina, do you and Sean have an established screaming room at this point? Or is it okay to just let it out whenever it hits you?
That's why we have a walk-in closet.
Okay, cool.
Filling the void about as well as Harry fills Cho's void in this entire...
Oh, got him.
Shots preemptively fired.
That's also what he would do, so...
I hate when I'm trying to say something and then I miss a joke because my mouth is running and then everyone's laughing and I'm like, man, I missed a good one. I'm gonna chuckle on the playback for sure.
Andrew made an excellent premature ejaculation joke.
Thank you.
Nice. Those are strong. Those are good jokes.
I never thought I would get a compliment from Brooke on a premature ejaculation joke. So
yeah, I'm gonna send you that audio clip, Andrew, so you can put it as your text.
That's my new text tone, exactly. Like.
So yeah, all of these things happening to me. And then I was like, well, I need to read Order of the Phoenix before the summer's over. So Harry was being a brat, and I was like, I don't love it, but I get it. Today we're here to talk about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. You may have noticed we haven't covered it yet on the podcast, so this is a pregame, if you will. Pregame can still get you pregnant. Haha, good. Just as good as your pre-ejaculation joke that I missed, Andrew. Or not quite up to snuff.
No.
It was great. It was great.
Okay, so we're here to like chit-chat about Order of the Phoenix, what we remember, what we're anticipating, and we have some listener emails and reviews and questions, and we're just gonna get right down to it. Are you all ready?
Aye, Captain.
Oh, yeah.
Brooke, please say I have no memory of this place anytime we mention something that you don't remember from book 5.
Oh, God, that's gonna be a lot.
Wait, are you even planning on reading this book because of the impending baby?
I probably will. The thing about babies is that you have a lot of free time and no free time.
Yeah.
So
just enough free time to eventually read Order of the Phoenix.
Isn't that what they call hurry up and wait in the military?
You need exactly the kind of free time where you have to be able to fill it with things where you're, oh shit.
What just happened to you?
Can you, hold on. Michael.
What just happened
Michael,
to you? Something like fell off
Everything
camera.
has gone wrong.
Oh, God.
Your pregnant wife needs you.
Forget the dog. Thank you. Okay. Yep. We're going to put that back where it was. Can you just I'm taking her with me. Okay. Thank you.
Whatever was that?
Everything has gone wrong. I need you. Can I just say, I think all of us stayed mighty calm when we heard our heavily pregnant friend go, oh God, Michael, everything's gone wrong. I need you. Don't worry about the dog.
It wouldn't be the first labor that this podcast has induced, honestly.
Oh, man.
It's way less stressful than that.
Did something fall on you or almost fall on you?
Yeah. So I got like a folding screen, like a canvas folding screen to go over the like open entryway between my office and the hallway because it cuts down on echo and it creates a nice divider between me and the dog for when I'm doing work things.
Oh yeah.
And podcast things. I'm literally crying. That was my Maple just took a running jump into the screen and knocked it over, and I
you will not be separated from her.
Just saw it coming for me, and I caught it
like a wall, just a wall falling on your face.
Yeah, and I caught it, but like I don't currently have the mobility to do
anything else.
To do anything
Oh
else.
no,
And
yes.
So it was just like, Michael, please.
Just
help.
Atlas holding the planet.
So I'm just like holding this like wall segment and Michael comes around the corner, sees this scenario and decides that the best thing he can do is just put a leash on the dog. And so that's why I was like, forget the dog. I need you. Everything has gone wrong. Oh God.
I'm glad you're okay, sweetie.
It's okay. We're fine. We're good.
Every almost emergency that you have experienced since becoming pregnant, you have been the most calm person in that situation. There was the time you almost fell down my stairs, the time you almost fell off the medicine ball, and this.
No, she fell off the medicine
I fell
ball.
All the way off
it was
the ball.
it was like Flat Stanley though. She just
it
fluttered to the ground.
Yeah, like it wasn't not a fall. It was for sure a fall, but it was a very slow, controlled, resigned fall of just like, no, it's happening. It's happening.
My theater training kicked in. I was like, I know how to mitigate this scenario. I'm still going down, but like certainly it won't be dangerous.
I love that so much. Okay, so Brooke, you're due in September. Is this the last time we're going to see you for a while? Like, when might people expect to hear your dulcet tones on the show again?
Probably. I'm taking the American insufficient maternity leave gap of 12 weeks away from everything that I know.
Yeah, you know, the enough time to fully bond with your child before you send it into the wild.
And recover from putting your body through a trauma.
Yeah, I need to get to a point with this podcast where I can get, like, I can make time for about 2 hours worth of recording without having to feed a human from my body.
Right, okay.
So at the point where that is possible, which is probably going to be sometime in late November.
I was going to say maybe like in time for Christmas.
Yes, I will rejoin the cast.
So we'll miss you, but that's why I'm glad to get you on this episode so we can get... I always like to have you on our like pregame episodes because you're the only one who doesn't remember anything.
God, I don't remember fucking anything about this whole book series.
This whole book, I think, is gonna like shock you if you don't remember any of it. It's like so ridiculous.
So what I will say is I've been obviously reading a lot of parenting blogs recently, and like how to introduce your kids to Harry Potter is a whole topic, as you might imagine.
Yeah, we talked about that in like our first or second episode ever.
Mm-hmm. And this book is the dividing line for most parents, where they're like, most people agree that you can start your kids on Harry Potter sometime around 7 or 8, but that most kids will need a couple of years maturity break in between the 4th and the 5th book because of the tone shift and
there's
increased depth.
Much. There's so much in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
That traumatizes me as a 30-year-old.
Right.
And like we had that gap built in just by like the books coming out. Like it just didn't exist yet.
Right. And so it's like you could hypothetically start your kids at 8 and then by like 9 they're caught up to book 4. You know what I mean?
This came out in 2003. I was 12 in 2003. So I feel like that was too fucking young for this actually.
I don't know. I was like 11 and I remember reading through it with my mom, and like it was intense, but I was okay.
I was in middle school. Middle school is exactly the age that you need to be in order for this book to
get in
emotionally connect.
Yeah. It's like you need to be validated.
You're right about that.
I was 13. I was just finished with 8th grade, and it was the perfect timing for me to read this book. I was
I'm pretty sure I had like just gotten my period, which is the perfect moment to indulge in just raw teenage angst and what the fuck is going on in your life.
Yeah. I probably like learned a lot from this book, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't trust the government.
Yeah.
Learned that one real quick.
I distinctly remember reading this book and being like, is that what kissing's gonna be like?
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
No, the answer is no.
The wet, teary kissing is a memory that I distinctly have.
Yeah.
It's so good. Well, this book, and the crazy thing is that this book will like murder people and like torture kids, but they fade to black on the chaste first kiss.
Honestly, with how poorly written I feel like I remember the Ginny kiss being later, I'm kind of just always good with the fade to black on physical intimacy in the series.
We actually don't have to try. You could just turn the scene off.
I think in this one it's kind of funnier that it's done that way because you just get Harry's stupid teenage boy perspective on the experience afterward.
It's really fucking funny. And Hermione is so businesslike about it. She's like, "Did you guys kiss?" I knew you would.
She's like, I have assessed that correctly.
Hermione is the kid who has known about the birds and the bees since she was like 2.
Oh, Hermione Granger, definitely her parents read to her, Where Do I Come From?
Yeah.
The book that you should show to your children to describe to them where they come from.
Oh, are you stealing my plug, asshole?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Oh boy.
That's so funny.
Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is the best thing we're going to do this whole episode. And it's actually the best thing that has happened to me all summer. I need to read this review that I found on Apple Podcasts.
Oh.
You may know, I produce books for a living. I read, a book or two a week. I see a lot of writing, and this is some of the most compelling writing I've ever seen in my life. Okay.
Wait,
is a review.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Andrew's not ready.
I'll do it too.
Okay, I just felt like that was necessary.
I think we all get shout outs in this, so I actually, well, whatever.
Oh, I for sure do.
This is an Apple Podcast review by a person called Leaf Glore. Leaf Glore, if you're out there listening, I want you to know that I love you. Yes. This is so fucking funny. Okay, subject line, terrible yet enticing. Here's the body of the review. This pod is a great idea and satisfies my itch for Harry Potter content. Yet the hosts are infuriating, annoying, and inept at audio discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow love it in a way I can't even figure out for myself. But I'm so tired of listening to every single one of the 5-6 hosts give their unimaginative opinion for 5+ minutes on every little line of every chapter. The wild theories they came up with are dumb, and they all think they're so important. They are so knowledgeable about the Harry Potter world, yet get so many things wrong with the silly theories they each derive. There's a corporate middle manager that will constantly complain about how difficult her life is, quote, as a manager, any chance she will get. Not like the other girl's dorky introvert and the bro gym manly gorilla that they have for, I guess, diversity is the most annoying. I have to skip ahead every time he talks. But for anyone that needs everything put into sports terms for you, he's got your back. The women are all kind of mean to each other, but in a subtle way. And at the end, there's always 5 minutes of Netflix recommendations that they, for some reason, mislabel as plugs. I guess because they don't have any other interesting things going on to promote. I hate it and I love it. Will keep listening for sure. 4 stars.
It never gets old.
It doesn't.
It's just so right, honestly.
Not a single one of these things is a whiff, except for I think that this person maybe left this review before they caught up because they talk about 5 or 6 hosts, which we did used to have more hosts, and that was wrong. You're right about that.
Yeah. The audio was not great. It did take us a while to figure out.
Yeah. And then the note where they say that we do 5 minutes of Netflix plugs because we don't have any other interesting things going on to promote. I have a business now that I promote a lot in addition to 5 minutes worth of Netflix recommendations. So I'm just saying.
We've branched out. We have HBO Go recommendations. We have...
People change!
We have Hulu recommendations. We have all the services. I gave a Crackle recommendation. No, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure I recently plugged chips and queso, so this review is way out of pocket.
Wait, that's true. You did plug chips and queso.
You did. I was there.
Brooke, as a manager, how do you feel chips and queso?
Okay. This is a very
important... That manager could be anyone.
Yeah, that's a very important question I would like to have settled.
Okay, so
Twitter.
let's do this line by line. Okay. Okay. A corporate middle manager that will constantly complain about how difficult her life is as a manager. That's either Brooke or Leela or Mary Payton.
Yeah.
I feel like in the early days, Leela wasn't on.
Yeah, Leela wasn't a friend yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's either me or Mary Payton. And
yeah,
I can't,
you guys both talked about it a lot.
We both did, yeah.
Because it was your job.
It was very integral to who I was and what I was doing at the time.
Yeah, so that could be either of you. Not enough information. Please update your review to be more specific.
Like, can we please do a Twitter poll of like in the early eps who is the most annoying middle manager, Mary Payton or Brooke? Because I would really like to know.
Speaking of most annoying, the bro gym manly gorilla that we have for diversity. We do have him for diversity. There's a lot of girls on this podcast.
And there's too many English majors or adjacent.
I feel like that's strong contention again for the early episodes, either Andrew or Michael, who was there for all the early episodes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been wondering myself.
I think it's Andrew because for anyone that needs everything put into sports terms for you, Michael has never put anything on this podcast into sports terms. It's always into music and pop culture terms.
I think in the early days he did, though, because he was just trying to be a contentious asshole.
Diversity. See, we need more diversity like that.
Yeah, we need more assholes on this podcast. Apparently we're all already subtly mean to each other.
That's my favorite line. The women are all kind of mean to each other, but in a subtle way. That's my favorite line because we're not trying to be subtle.
No.
we're just friends with each other.
It's just banter.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Fucking Minnesota that you think that we're like mean to each other in a non-friendly way?
I feel like I'm always mean to everyone because I'm trying to always I think especially on the chapter episodes, I'm always trying to get everyone to shut up so we can talk about the next thing. So I feel like that comes out across as mean sometimes.
Christina, in many ways you're an inspiration to me and have been since we met because you're really good at being mean without upsetting people.
Oh, wait, that's like a great compliment.
That's actually,
I don't know how
really
you pull it off,
too, yeah.
right? It's like, it's an art and I've been trying to learn it through observation and like, it's been like 5 years. We've been friends for like 5 years and I'm still trying to fucking figure out how you do it.
You'll never learn my wiles. That was like a hard sentence to say, and it didn't ultimately really make sense.
No, I just think that, also it is worth noting for most of us, like, who we are on this podcast is an exaggeration of our personalities.
I don't think that's true because whenever you guys hang out with me, you're so fucking fun and funny all the time.
I know, but like the way, like, I am not actually as contrarian in real life as I am on this podcast.
Not to be contrarian, but like, yes, you are.
Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are we occasionally mean to each other a little bit? Yes.
Yes, your friends say dumb things and you have to look at them and be like, what?
Right. Because we're all at a point in our lives where we know ourselves pretty goddamn well, and we know a lot of the ways in which we're kind of dumb or unreasonable or annoying or self-defeating. So when someone else points it out to us, it's not like we don't already know.
Okay, my favorite, I think the most accurate part of this review by Leaf Glore is when they talk about how we seem to know a lot about Harry Potter, but also miss the mark every time. I think that's really spot on.
Very, very true.
Like, I can feel it as it's happening, but there's not much I can do to like alter the course, you know?
Didn't we call a character like an incorrect name for an entire episode?
That was Fantastic Beast. That was we called him Jacob Jonathan for the entire Fantastic Beast episode.
To be fair, there are only 10 guys' names in existence, and sometimes you get them mixed up.
I love that review a lot. If you want to leave this dedicated of a review for us, I'll read it on the podcast. Consider giving us 5 stars.
I was gonna say that's the best part to me. That's the bow on top. Is because
the 4 stars.
Any other time I'd be mad to get 4 out of 5. I'd be like, come on.
No, but
they justified it.
They justified it perfectly. Like it's the mark of a perfect roast where it's done with love, right? And this was clearly done with unwanted love. This is someone who hates the fact that they enjoy us. And listeners, you should know by now, that's my favorite thing. If I can make you laugh at something you don't want to laugh at and do it in the worst joke possible, that's my favorite thing. And they did that to me. And I love it. I love it. 4 out of 5 stars. Oh.
Leaf Glore, please reach out to us with an update if you're still listening. Because I want to know if we've stayed.
Yeah, I want to know if you make it all the way.
We've definitely shifted the amount. We're the same amount of annoying, but it's like a little bit different now.
It's the same amount of annoying with higher production quality.
Less concentrated, exactly. Higher production quality.
It's on purpose now.
Okay, we have to wrap up Leaf Glore's review commentary. Any final words about it other than thank you, Leaf Glore?
I mean, I like that we're not questioning who the not like other girls nerdy introvert is.
Oh no, that's
I forget
Haley.
To circle back to that.
Nope, that's just Haley.
Yeah. Haley. Yep. Yeah, no, we don't need a Twitter poll for that. No, the Twitter poll is it Haley or is it Haley?
It's so funny because when you get to know Haley as a person, you're like, oh, yikes, she is not like other girls.
Yes.
Oh, that's what they meant.
Okay, the next thing on the docket is actually like a pretty exciting announcement of something that we have upcoming this fall. I am setting a Patreon stretch goal for us. So if we get 5 new patrons between now and October 21st, 2022, we're going to host a live stream exclusively for our patrons in which we're going to be reading My Immortal aloud.
Are we taking turns reading?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I have so many things to plan. But I really would love to do that. So if you're considering signing up for our Patreon, now is probably a really good time to do it. It's fun over there. We do cool stuff. For the $1 a month tier, you can get access to our Discord server. The $5, what?
Haley just downed the rest of her beer.
That is not a beer.
That's
that looks
not
like
a beer.
lemonade.
That is a Mike's Hard. My bad.
This is a bold rock. How dare you?
It is a beer.
Guys,
kind
you
of.
interrupted my
It's a
plug.
cider.
Guys.
Sorry,
Mom.
Okay, for the $5 a month tier, you get our monthly bonus episodes, which are extremely fun. This month's episode is Alien or Wizard? Wizard or Alien, which is a game that me and Brooke and Haley invented.
was it?
Leela.
Was I involved? No.
I have like such a chronic problem of dropping Haley's name where it doesn't belong. Like, I feel like in the last episode, I was talking about Emily and I said Haley instead. And I accused you of asking you to borrow sports equipment from me, which is obviously something that Emily would do and not Haley. Okay, wait, I keep getting derailed. For the $10 a month tier, you get invited to our monthly Zoom happy hours, which are extremely fun. And then for the $20 a month tier, you get to come on one episode on the main feed, like per season that you are a patron. So it's very cool over there. We have a lot of cool, fun stuff. And I would love to be able to make Haley read My Immortal aloud in front of an audience. So please sign up for the Patreon.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. You told me that those pictures were going to be used for Patreon tier, and you were very forceful when you said I had to take them. And now you didn't mention anything about picture. What? Okay, we'll have this discussion off air.
There was a legitimate discussion. Speaking of our early days,
That's exactly what I was
into Leaf Lore. There was an early discussion about making one of our Patreon tiers just that you get a single pixel of my tits every month mailed to you, and that you can eventually assemble into a picture of
That's
my
how
tits.
you get like longevity. That's how you get people to stay with you.
I forgot all about that.
Yes. Oh man.
There is a very lovely picture that Christina had commissioned for me for my birthday of me as a topless centaur.
Oh yeah.
It is framed. It hangs in my house. Michael decided to put it like downstairs in like a very public place in our house. And we recently had our baby shower. And so all of my family and my aunt were over and stuff. It's hanging right outside the only bathroom on our first floor.
Yeah.
So
that's in a position of honor.
Yeah.
It's strategically located.
So I'm like,
so no one misses it.
Showing my family around my house. And everybody, I watched my mother, my father, my sister, my aunt, and my 10-year-old cousin all clock it and make the same decision to not bring it up.
Wow.
See, now I want to like get your sister involved and have her start dropping like fake intel to the family. Like, yeah, she actually that was a commissioned work. Like they worked for several weeks to get the shape of everything right. Like, it is to scale. That is...
I just think that like my family would like gloss right over it. Like they would be equal parts not surprised and like and just not wanting to address it.
The old wasp sidestep.
Yeah.
If you are in the States and you want a Haley and a Brooke bookmark, I would love to mail you one. Just DM me your address.
Mine is fully dressed.
Yeah, Haley's is more witch vibey, and Brooke's is not sexual. It's extremely majestic.
I love it. I have a stock of my own book self as a bookmark, and it's my one favorite flex when I'm reading in public. I always put it out on the table pretty prominently.
I love that. You should leave them about town and people will be very confused.
No one's ever asked for it or about it. You know what I mean? Like, I keep 3 for myself, you know?
I have no idea what I would do if I saw that in the wild. I would probably say something.
I would steal it.
I'd probably steal it. We're going to steal the bookmark of Centaur Tits.
If you're here because you stole a bookmark of my tits, become a patron. Come on.
Yeah, reach out. Let us know.
And for 1 pixel a month for the rest of your life, you too can assemble a kind of okay fuzzy picture of Brooke's one single tit.
We'll give you righty. She's the good one.
Sean and I always say that one tit is funny. Two tits is sexual. One tit, that's hilarious.
Except for on the Virginia state flag.
Yeah, the only flag with a tit on it.
Yep.
But just one.
We were doing the little, my mom and I were doing the little like Richmond downtown canal tour, and there was a Virginia flag right there. And I was like, Mom, did you know our flag had a boob on it? And she was like, what?
Did y'all know that our flag has a back on it?
What?
There is a
There's
flip
like
side to the flag that is not the same as the front side to the flag.
Really?
That is 1,000% accurate.
That's gotta be wrong. Show me the butt. Go on Google right now and show me the butt of the Virginia state flag.
There is a back to it that is different from the front.
How come we get two flags? I mean, that's technically two flags.
It says reverse. I don't know. I don't have time to do this much research. Okay, we have an email from Adele. I think this might be from maybe like 5 months ago.
We have a prompt and urgent reply to this email.
She's asking about Order of the Phoenix, which, by the way, Adele is a very dear friend of ours. Hello, Adele. I love you so much. Thank you for emailing us. You, too, can get shouted out on the show if you send us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com. I would love to hear your rambling thoughts. Not, Adele, not that you're rambling.
They can't be worse than our rambling thoughts.
Definitely, this might be the most concise email on this episode. We have more emails. Okay, Adele says, "Hi, Restricted Section gang. It's been a blast listening to the Goblet of Fire episode." So that's how old these are. The podcast started the book coverage just around when I had my big cross-country move, so it feels like I've been able to bring a bunch of friends with me on my new adventure.
Aw, love that.
I have a question for all of you to consider as you're currently wrapping up and before you jump into Order of the Phoenix. Both this book, the fourth book, the first book, and Half-Blood Prince, so that's books 1, 4, and 6, all begin with an outside perspective. That is, Harry is not the narrator or deciding the main action.
I have no memory of this place.
If you could have one perspective to fill a chapter before we see Harry eavesdropping to the Muggle news in Privet Drive at the beginning of book 5, who would it be?
Is that what happened? Is that how this book starts?
No, 1, 4, and 6.
Yeah, so 1 starts with like a Vernon Dursley chapter, and then Goblet of Fire starts with a Frank Bryce chapter in the Riddle house.
Well, I remember that because we just read it.
And then the 6th book starts with the new Muggle Prime Minister, right? That's such. I love
that's
that
6
chapter.
though. We're not this one.
So Order of the Phoenix doesn't do that, and Adele's asking, what would we put there?
Oh, okay. Daenerys Targaryen. I feel like she doesn't get enough.
She has so many chapters, honestly.
It's got boring since she got to the desert.
You mean how the last time we saw Dany in the desert, she was shitting her brains out, and then George R. R. Martin, she was just stranded in the desert with dysentery, and then George R. R. Martin's like, I don't need to finish this series.
As someone who's been stranded in the desert with horrible diarrhea before,
you were a grip to figure out how she got out.
Here's the thing, she doesn't have enough water. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. That's going to be your problem.
Yep. But she is made of fire, so does she need to drink water?
I would actually, and this is my actual Harry Potter answer.
Okay.
I would actually like to see just one point of view chapter of what Hermione does in the summer. I just want to see her chilling with her normal ass dentist parents. Does she catch up with her? Does she have friends from grade school that she's catching up with, from before she made the leap?
That's cute.
Do you remember Hermione at 11? Do you remember book 1?
Precocious
that was not a child with friends.
But I also remember myself at 11, and I still managed some friends.
Yeah, I was pretty cunty when I was a kid, but yeah, I still had friends.
Yeah,
I was desperately shy and weird and precocious, and also moved around a lot.
His family moves around a lot,
and so maybe she had friends before she got that letter. But once she got to Hogwarts, just no one wrote to her. She didn't feel compelled to write back.
I want to know what goes on in her actual brain. I want to see what that thought process looks like. And
oh no, I'm very interested in her family dynamic.
Yeah, I want to know everything about her family.
I have a horrible feeling it would be very disappointing to read Hermione's thought process, because the truth is I think Hermione was always kind of an analog for that bitch in her own books. And I think the reality is it would be very underwhelming because she's writing like the idealized version of herself. I don't know. I just think it would be one of those deals where you would expect it to be deep and insightful, and it would be like Dan Brown insightful.
I think it could also be like Sherlock Holmes style of her like reading a bunch of like magic books and like piecing cool shit together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I could pick someone for a point of view chapter at the beginning of Order of the Phoenix, I would pick Kingsley, because he is a really cool character who has a really, really bad last name. So we just call him Kingsley here. And he just seems really cool, and he gets next to no airtime. And I would like to see him like doing some real hot horror shit. Like maybe this book starts with him going into the Department of Mysteries and like getting a visual on the prophecy and being like, okay, here's our first steps. Or something like that.
I think any POV that provides us a little bit more information on what the fuck Aurors actually do in a day would be fab.
Ours.
Yeah.
Arrs.
Arrs.
Haley, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I can't decide if I would want Sirius or Remus for that. Like, I would love to see the scene where Sirius has to be like the conversation of like, hey, so you guys know how Sirius like super duper betrayed us and none of us saw it coming and we've all hated him for years. Okay, so here's the funny thing. Behind door number 3, with a full explanation.
Yeah.
Is our buddy Sirius?
The adult reintroduction of Sirius Black.
Yeah, and also just like, I just think he's a really interesting and underexplored, underutilized character, and I would just like love to get his perspective.
Yeah.
For like one chapter.
There's like so many characters that it's impossible to utilize all of them enough. It's the George R.R. Martin effect. It's like do less and do it better.
See, my mind went a completely different direction from y'all when I heard the prompt. Because I think it would be cool with the way that, like, this book starts with Harry kind of walking around his neighborhood more and, like, trying to, like, get away from the house and stuff. I think it would be cool if, like, I got this idea of, like an old classmate of his, right? Someone who knew him back when he still went to Muggle school, who gets a job as, like, an ice cream van, like, worker, right?
He gets a job as an ice cream van.
And like during the summer, he's working, he's selling ice cream, right? And as he travels around his neighborhood, he sees this kid that he hasn't seen for years walking around. And every once in a while, like behind the kid, he'll see an oddly dressed individual, right? Because like we know that they're keeping tabs on Harry. So it would be kind of cool to see from an outside perspective, someone who has no clue what's going on, sees this person he hasn't seen for years, barely remembers him, and like just sees him doing just normal shit.
Nice.
But
that's
like,
a good one.
But like with the weird aspect of like not knowing, because there's always that thing with Muggles in this book about they kind of see the wizards, but they don't. So like see them like, that's weird, and just
So you basically want an updated rehash of the intro to the first book, where it's just like the owls are behaving strangely.
Kind of.
Look at this bizarro cat.
Yeah, but like specifically from someone who does know him, right? Who like knows him but doesn't just knows him as that weird kid that goes to the criminals school now.
You know, there is like, I do remember in the first chapter of this book, it's just like a thing Harry knows that parents around the neighborhood tell their younger kids, like, that kid's a delinquent, don't talk to him. So, like, what's the one kid that Dudley beats up that he mentions by name? I cannot remember the name. But, like, that kid would be, it doesn't, but it would be, like, that kid would be...
with this book, I don't remember shit.
He's not relevant at all, except for that, like, Dudley kicks his ass a lot. But, like, that kid as the, like, a perspective character and just, like... Because, you know, you're young and you're told, don't talk to so-and-so.
His name is Mark Evans.
There you go.
God, what a milquetoast name.
It is a very milquetoast name, and he would be a very milquetoast person having an interesting day and not even knowing it, as milquetoast people often do. And, like, I think that would be a good parallel with the first book, because the first book is like Vernon Dursley's noticing weird shit, but it's all because everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And this would be like, this kid's noticing weird shit, but in the same way that, like, a 10-year-old in 2020 was noticing weird shit right before everything blew up.
Yeah, and it also kind of brings up the idea that the Muggle world is going to start seeing this shit more and more, and is going to be more affected by the Wizarding world. And I don't know, like I got a cool little, I thought like a nifty little idea when that prompt was given.
I think that's artistically viable.
So Adele says, personally, I would love a previously unknown or relatively unimportant character running from the Death Eaters or something along those lines. It would really set up the higher stakes feel of the fifth book and give a bit of insight into the war in the shadows that's going on outside of Hogwarts after Voldemort's return. Sending lots of love from north of the border, Adele, smiley face. Thank you, Adele.
Thanks, Adele.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So do you guys like Order of the Phoenix?
I have realized in this very short period of time that I don't remember enough to know.
Okay.
I feel like probably. I remember being like, wow, this is a lot of angst.
Yep.
And I remember wet kisses. And like, I don't think either of those are like things that I'm like, fuck yeah.
Do you like this book, Haley?
I think I do. I like a midpoint in a story, because like a midpoint can either be like, we think we're doing great and we're not, or everything seems horrible, but maybe we'll have an advantage by the time we're through this. And that's the kind of midpoint this is. And I like that. I like that emotional journey. It is a lot to deal with Harry being 15, but man, I remember being 15.
Yeah.
I'm not sympathetic. I don't fully get a lot of his whole deal. I didn't have a wet kiss at like a wet awkward kiss at 15. Like, it wasn't, my first kiss was wet, but it was because I was in a wave pool.
The most sanitary place to have a first kiss, really.
Getting tweeted. That's getting tweeted for sure.
Romance thy name is wave pool.
At what age? I have questions.
This was last week.
That's not true. I think we've all kissed Haley at some point within the last 6 years.
It's true.
It would have been the summer between 8th and 9th grade, I want to say.
Cute.
I was at Six Flags. I was at Six Flags with Willow, and some random kid, our same age, just like pulled a move on me. I was unprepared. No one ever pulled a move on me. It wasn't a good move, but it was the first one that anyone ever... I didn't have a strategy.
There were no defenses, is what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
you're saying a random child swam up to you and just like wave pool lunged at you? Did they wait for a wave?
Place on earth.
Like they body surfed in, lips first?
meh.
Insert Jaws music.
That honestly is that is appropriate to the moment. He waded up to me, I'll have you know, and asked if I had a boyfriend, and I said no, and like, I'm oblivious, weird question, and he's like, well, would you like one? And I was like, I mean, I'm just here today. And then, like, we just kind of hung out for a bit, kissed briefly, still in the wave pool, wandered around. He tried to lure me into the bathroom. I did not go, because I was like, no, I don't want to go in the men's room at Six Flags.
This is like Tuck Everlasting levels of like earnest, innocent, like,
oh my
like
God.
kisses.
It wasn't even earnest. It was just baffled. Like, just I don't know how to extricate myself from this situation. And I don't think I like that it's happening. Not in like a traumatizing way, just in like, I wish I was doing anything but this.
Guys, I
hate being nice.
We have to move on. We've completely lost a grip over the summer on pacing.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay. Andrew, do you like this book?
I vividly remember the first few times reading this series, loving this book. it is also the first book that I started to notice that I didn't like. And so I'm at this point where I have not reread this one in the most time since all of them. You know, like, there's a long time since I last read this book.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, I think I'm going to viscerally hate it. I think I'm going to absolutely despise it. And it's one of those things where have you ever hated something that you used to really like, and then you learn how much you really hate it, and then there's like along with the hate, there's the embarrassment that goes along with knowing how much you liked this thing?
In terms of that scale, what are we talking about on a scale from like Justin Bieber to like first kiss in a wave pool?
I'm never living that
In terms of hatred and embarrassment as a combo.
I'm just unembarrassable, so...
I mean, nowadays it's more unembarrassable for me too, but like, I would put it at a solid, like, if you ever had a friend that you had a sincere conversation where you tried to convince them that Aaron Carter was like a legitimate artist. That
didn't have to. I was a young girl during that time period. Everyone agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that now, like, if you had to go into detail into a weekly discussion with people about how much you liked Aaron Carter and thought of him as a musically gifted individual, that's kind of how I think I'm going to feel about it.
Here's my thesis statement about Order of the Phoenix. It's a really fun book. It's way too long. It is written pretty poorly, but the story has really fun elements. And there was going to be one more thing. What was it? It's like reading it, I'm like, there's like fun things happening, but it takes so long and there's so much bullshit.
Yeah.
There's so much bullshit in this book. Just chapters and chapters of bullshit.
I think like my enjoyment of it largely comes from the fact that it's a very serious, heavy book, you know, before he dies. And like, I love...
Wait, who died?
I thought you said serious, heavy, like a serious tone.
Serious, comma, heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was like a serious, heavy book and that, wow, that hit hard. Okay.
I'm sorry for scaring you like that. Like, I just enjoy him as a character. Like, I love Prison Break shit. Mm-hmm. And I was always just like, you are so smart, but so dumb, in a way that I find extremely entertaining.
He's the Jack Sparrow of the Harry Potter universe.
A little bit. Like, he's a lovable rascal, you know? And so, like, the fact that this book just, like, feeds that special interest of mine, like, when I was growing up and, like, had big Harry Potter phases, that was, like, my foothold in this book that got me through everything else.
Yeah.
I love that for you. Do y'all like the movie of this book?
No. This is I mean, the fourth book to movie adaptation wasn't great. But this was the first time that there was like a lot of important information that actually needed to get included, that they were like, we're just going to cut that because it's hard to film. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like the first 15 minutes and the last 20 minutes of this movie.
Okay.
And everything else in between. Because, like, the scene at the Ministry, it's not too book, but it's a very action-y...
You'll never know love or friendship! You mean that one?
Yeah.
Wait, is that in this book?
Yeah.
He does that in this movie.
Yeah.
It's that fight.
He doesn't quite say it in the book.
So, like, as a movie, I like I said, like, if I could get a cut that's just like the first little bit and the last little bit, really great.
Yeah.
You just want some scene dressing and then watch people die? Is that what?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, the wild thing is that, like, I know Harry Potter is expensive to produce, but the most, like, visually cool concepts from this book are taken out of the movie. Like, Fred and George set up that swamp in the hallway. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen a hallway swamp. That's amazing. And there's some good, like, Peeves action. Obviously, we don't do Peeves.
the movie just feels very minimalist compared to the book, and the book it's too maximalist at times. Yeah. Just like it's too long, but a lot of the stuff in there is just like, oh god, but it would have suffered for losing this. Like, it would have suffered for losing the swamp. It didn't need the swamp, but we all love the swamp.
A lot of the character building that happens in the books is through people's personal expressions of their magic, like where they choose to put their time and energy and what their specialties are and all that stuff. And, like, when you take out all the magic in the movies, you end up losing a lot of character development and a lot of character moments that really flesh people out a lot better than, like, them being cardboard cutouts who are there to say a line.
Yeah. Interesting. Agree. That's very well said.
Yeah. Okay, here are some random Order of the Phoenix hot takes from / none of them are really that hot. From our Discord server. If you would like to be part of our Discord community, sign up for our Patreon for just $1 a month, and then you too can sometimes get asked questions about episodes.
And you also gain the ability to personally at us for anything.
It's true. It's true.
You get the ability to make takes as hot and spicy as a chipotle mayo. Just
I reiterate that none of these are hot takes, but I will read them. They are takes. Okay, Sam, we know Sam. Hi, Sam, said, we were talking about Order of the Phoenix and, like, I don't know, memories of reading it. And Sam said, I was really intrigued about how Order of the Phoenix was going to start, especially because the last book ended on such a downer. And I do feel like I remember that when the books were originally coming out, like the end of Goblet of Fire just being like so explosive. And then you had to wait for the next one to come out. And it's like, what could possibly be going on in the next book?
Turns out Harry's waiting.
Yeah. That's true. Much like
We're all just waiting. Yeah. He's so relatable.
This sounds really dumb, but like one of the few memories I have of the release of this book is being so shocked at the monochromatic blue cover. Like, maybe that's too weird of a book thing to put in there, but like all of the covers to date had been...
Yeah, I think you're right.
They'd been really colorful, and they'd been, you know, they'd like shown a variety of things. And like, when this is the first one you get to, and it's just all blue.
Just blue. Dabu dee dabu da.
It's a pretty cool cover.
It is.
He's going like into the Department of Mysteries with like some candles and shit.
I think the next 3 are all pretty monochromatic.
Yeah, they are.
They?
Yeah, because it's blue, and then it's green, and then it's orange.
I never noticed that.
Oh, yeah, orange.
I don't know. There's a real design shift there.
Yeah, so interesting. Love that. Well, it's like we're getting dark now.
We're getting dark and artsy, just like a 15-year-old thinks they are.
Okay, Dan in the Discord says, is this the most forgettable book? I barely remember reading it when it came out, except for the smooches. I remember when the movie came out, I had forgotten most of the plot, so the movie felt new to me.
I forget the most in this series.
Yes.
And I will say the book that I recall the least about is the 6th book. I would vote 6th for most forgettable.
Yeah. 6th is like, is it good for the characters that Hogwarts feels like a fucking high school again? Yeah, sure, they're in fucking high school. Is it good for me as a reader? Nah.
What?
I don't care.
I think I remember the least from Order of the Phoenix, and like every time I go back to read it again, I've forgotten all the same things again. And I feel like that's easy to do because there's so many like tiny little things happening all the time in this book. Like there's a lot going on, and that's why it feels like it takes so long, because it's like way too many threads. It's like, God, you got to drop some of these plots, dude.
It's like the first time that you also have like life outside Hogwarts as like throughout the book.
Yeah.
Like there's a secondary location for the first time.
And that's why you never go to a secondary location.
There's even a third location. They go to the hospital.
Yeah, they do.
Which unfortunately is usually the third location if you go to a second location.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I have no memory of this place. They go to the hospital?
Yeah, they go to the
hospital.
Yeah.
Over Christmas break.
And they go to the
why?
wizard.
There's 2 chapters worth.
Well, Ron's dad is in the hospital. He's bit by the snake.
Oh my god, guys, never mind. I don't know anything about this.
Brooke, he's bit by the snake that has the telepathic link with Harry. Come on now. How do you not...
Okay. All right, okay.
This is normal, everyday book stuff.
I believe you.
Okay, next, Taylor says, Luna is my favorite character, and I love her introduction as an underestimated Ravenclaw. She is so smart in her untraditional way. As scary as Umbridge is, she's an effective as fuck antagonist. Plus, who doesn't love the Weasley twins' exit?
Mm.
I think everybody
Luna?
loves Umbridge. I will say that's like a standout of this book in particular.
Well, it's like when, it's like when Captain America is like, fuck the government. It's just like, nice. Harry Potter is like, you can't trust the government. That's fun. That's like a fun villain.
Plus, like, if you were in, I don't know if this is, I don't know what school's like these days. I'm old, but if you were growing up in like post 9/11, like No Child Left Behind, by which we mean every child left behind, like that school system, that public school system, ooh, Umbridge felt familiar.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember when Betsy DeVos was named whatever her position was, the head of education.
Secretary of Education.
Headmistress of Hogwarts. There was a lot of memes about her and Umbridge.
Yeah.
I think she wore an all pink outfit too.
And I think Betsy
My
DeVos
turban.
took umbrage with those Umbridge comparisons.
Good one, yeah.
I forget that that's a word. It's
You know, Andrew, you already won with the premature ejaculation.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna top
I'm
it.
trying to get her again, and I know I won't, but like,
You'll never top premature ejaculation.
thank you.
Yeah, Taylor also
I've topped 4 premature ejaculation. Does that?
Taylor also mentioned the Weasley twins like exit when they set up a swamp in the hall, and then when Umbridge corners them about it, they summon their broomsticks that she has locked up, and they fly away, and they leave like a fuck ton of fireworks in their wake.
Okay, fireworks is a real thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like the answer is fireworks, but I am.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Fireworks were the least visually interesting thing about that exit, and it's the only thing the movie did.
Yeah.
Plus, like, they're running an illicit business the entire year.
Yeah.
With, like, human experimentation.
And last year.
And last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hermione and Ron are prefects in this book.
So many change dynamics.
Yeah.
It gets spicy.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it so much because it puts like so much emotional labor on Hermione, because obviously Ron's not going to do anything unless she's pestering him, and I fucking hate that life for her.
Why didn't fucking Dean Thomas get it?
I've got a pet
Yeah,
theory
like, he's
about
just responsible. He doesn't cause problems.
I've got a pet theory about this, a no prize solution, but it really makes Dumbledore look terrible, which is that Dumbledore thought that even though he knew that Harry was a good boy TM who, you know, was going to grow up and do the right thing, that this was a way...
himself?
Yeah, this is a way to make sure that he stays humble as fuck, because he resents the fact that, like...
Wow.
Oh, that Ron of all... Not even Dean, not even, you know, like, one who could potentially actually deserve it. No, Ron's going to get it, because... Let's be fair about it. You know, like...
There's like a whole page in this book devoted to Harry being like, why am I so mad about this? Is because I think I'm better than Ron? And then he's like, yeah, it kind of is. Yeah,
it kind of is because I kind of am.
Okay, the next message is from our friend Ashley in the Discord. Ashley says, I like Order of the Phoenix all right. I get it's annoying how angry, moody Harry is and that he alienates his friends constantly. But I get it, how the Ministry Umbridge treat him. My annoyance is that moody Harry is sloppy Harry, which leads to him dragging his friends into danger. How many times do you need to be deceived before you stop and think, hey, maybe I'm being tricked here? Could he not have checked into Sirius at Grimmauld Place more thoroughly before hightailing it down to London? And of course, Snape is going to play dumb in front of Umbridge, but I guess he's only 15, so whatever. That whole thing was about the entire climax of this book where Harry has a vision that Sirius Black is like being tortured by Voldemort in the Department of Mysteries. And he's like, we all need to go and I will endanger all of my friends for this.
You know what no one ever mentions? And we'll get there. We'll get there at some point.
What?
But no one ever talks about this, and it's bothered me for years. The fucking mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's the whole elaborate plan to sneak back into Umbridge's office, which you did one time, And the whole time, you petulant little bastard, the thing you needed, the one thing you needed that could have solved all of your problems, could have solved this preemptively, in fact, by making Sirius maybe less lonely, who's to say, was the present that you didn't open in the...
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about, but what you guys are forgetting is that the plot has to progress, and that's the only reason all of these things occur.
I'm aware of that, but, like, it makes me, like, it just feels like an unnecessary kick in the teeth, almost.
While I agree, I would say that a 15-year-old boy with poor communication skills is not, like, so fantastical that it doesn't make sense.
Well, and that's the
For
thing
sure.
is, my hot take for this book is everyone hates that bit, and I think that is one of the most on-point, like, accurate to the character moves that she ever made, was him, because he's been so focusing on thinking something's going to happen, and when he thinks it's happening, he's already been primed for it. He wants it to go wrong. And like Brooke said, he has terrible communication skills. He has no real resources because he's dug himself into the corner. Like, this is the most realistic reaction that Harry would have, and that's the part that sucks about it.
Also, like, he's very used to, at this point, being the one person that's, like, always proven right, you know what I mean? Like, they've done the same amount of dangerous shit before. Going to the Chamber of Secrets was an all-around poor choice. They sprung a convict from a werewolf and a whole, you know what I mean? Like, it's not exactly a scenario where it's like, this hasn't panned out for him before.
Right.
My thing is, like, you couldn't open a present. Like, you were grumpy, so you couldn't open a present. And the thing that was the present was basically a cell phone.
Yeah.
Like a wizard cell phone.
It was the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
That never got machina'd.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're that used to being fucked over, anything that you identify, it's like a weird mental thing. Anything that you're like, I'm being mean about this, I'm being shitty about this, and I know it, is going to be, inevitably, the thing that ultimately fucks you over even worse later. So just, like, open the present, man. Yeah. Just open the present. You know how this goes. Yep. You know how your luck works. Yeah. You know you're the fucking main character.
Also, Haley, or Christina, I hate to contradict you. It is Deus Ex Machina. It just hasn't machina'd yet. Because it's going to. It's not that it failed to. It's Andrew, going to. Yeah.
I need you to understand that that's exactly what she said.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
She literally said it's Deus Ex Machina that never machinas.
Thank you.
Well, no, it does eventually, though. In the 7th one. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, our next message is from Aaron, who says, to me, this book really demonstrates how badly Hogwarts needs a counselor or therapist for these kids. If Harry could have discussed some of his anxiety about Dumbledore being weird with him, had someone to reflect on who his dad really was, or a trusted adult could just listen to him, maybe some of the tragedy could have been avoided. When I originally read it, I thought for a moment Harry's conversations with McGonagall might go that way, but alas, he was offered another biscuit. Maybe once she took over as headmistress, she implemented a counselor. Goodness knows the students needed it. Maybe for career advice and general mental health needs. That's my headcanon, at least.
No,
this is the best take.
We've discussed this before, that Hogwarts needs a counselor desperately.
Surely it's in the budget.
Yeah.
Well, Hogwarts needs a counselor, and with that, they're going to have to hire a counselor for that counselor. Like, there's no way that you don't have... It's like buying hamsters. You can't just buy one. It's going to, like, get depression and die.
Counselors all the way down.
Here's what you gotta do. You hire a counselor, and then every time that counselor has given wise advice and the kid's feeling good again, she just goes over to Madame Pomfrey and she's like, obliviate all of it. Take it all out.
I was gonna go a much sweeter route and say that the counselor at Hogwarts should marry Madame Pomfrey, and then they can just sort of like commiserate and support each other.
That's a nicer take.
Okay, yeah, I mean, for sure, Hogwarts needs a therapist. There is a lot of that in this book about Harry just being like, well, I have no one to fucking talk to except for these two idiots who are idiots in different ways, and they're always fighting about it. Next on the list, we have an email from Mott's. Hi, Mott's. Do you want to do the song, Andrew?
Mott's thoughts.
Thank you.
There you
Matza, I don't know when he sent this. I don't remember. I just put them in the list and I'm like, I'll do that later.
go.
It's later.
It's now later.
Mott says, hello again. During my last reading of the books, I have found it harder and harder to take Voldemort seriously. And I think a part of the reason is the fact that he is possibly the world's biggest nerd. 1, we don't see a ton of Voldemort from his own school days, but from what we hear about him, he seems like a huge bookworm. He got amazing grades. Dumbledore refers to him as possibly the most brilliant student Hogwarts has ever had. And as far as I can tell, he spent a ton of time in the library searching through his family history and stuff. 2, he not only gave himself a nickname, he also made said nickname an anagram of his actual name. What in the world is nerdier than sitting down and trying to figure out the best way to turn your name into an anagram? 3, he made his little gang all get matching outfits and tattoos. 4, he loves a good monologue. I mean, he has that moment at the end of Goblet of Fire where he monologues for 3 straight chapters. He has that monologue in book 1 down in the basement with Quirrell. And best of all, Memory Tom Riddle has that monologue down in the Chamber of Secrets. So Voldemort must have loved monologuing already as a teenager. And his example is, when I woke up, I thought to myself, what do I do today? The weather is nice. The sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky. And Lucius goes, Tom. And Tom says, don't interrupt me when I'm monologuing, Lucius. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, the weather. What does this all make him if not the biggest nerd the wizarding world has ever seen? Next thing you'll tell me is that he spends his weekends with the gang playing D&D at Malfoy Manor. I'm becoming more and more convinced that Puff's got it right. Death Buddies is a more accurate name for this group. Anyway, I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Best wishes, Mott's. P.S. There's a scene in Pixar's Monsters University where Mike and Sully get inducted into a fraternity, and it's intended to be this super intimidating thing in the actual story, but it keeps getting interrupted by one of the guys' moms doing laundry or whatever, and that's how I'll be picturing the Death Eaters receiving the Dark Mark from now on, just a bunch of kids in their mom's basement.
Oh no, it would be a treehouse. That's my dad had a tattoo that he got when he was 12 and belonged to a gang called the Red Mill Swamp Rats. This was in Newark, Delaware. In like the 1960s, and they made they gave each other ballpoint pen like treehouse tattoos.
Stick and pokes.
Yeah,
That's cute.
stick and pokes. It was just his name, but yeah, that's what I picture.
I mean, I think this is like the most apt parallel to the KKK. Because it's also heavily nerd-based theory, but the thing is like, nerds aren't scary because you're not expecting them to do anything. Once the nerds have killed, they become scary because they're willing to kill, and the rest of it is just dressing.
That's an important character trait.
Yeah, they've talked themselves into it.
Yeah, now I can't help but think of of Tom Riddle as like Gavin McGinnis, like the charismatic nerd that's able to get a bunch of other horribly fucked up, super far right-wing nerds to follow him and starts the Proud Boys.
Well, and I'll just say, cult leaders are never cool. They're just, very persuasive.
Yeah.
With, a strong vision.
I've been wondering myself, it's established, I think mostly in book 6, that, he underwent a bunch of vague magical transformations, alterations, and that's part of why he looks the way that he did. But, what was he doing?
He got spoopy plastic surgery.
Right, exactly. So I'm sitting here I'm sure he did do, weird magic stuff to himself, but, some of that must have been purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
This has... Yeah, this has, the guy with, the split tongue and, the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
yeah.
Voldemort has split tongue energy.
Right.
Just sitting there, hunched over a piece of paper, drawing a round face with no nose, yeah, then I'm just gonna take it off, and, yeah, just getting super pumped over a really bad drawing. And he's, 32, which just makes it awkward. And this was me last night.
Andrew, your nose is fine.
Okay.
Haley, who's your favorite character that we meet in Order of the Phoenix?
Tonks.
Tonks.
That's
is
the
solid.
answer.
Brooke, what about you?
I don't know any of the characters that we meet in this book, but Haley has informed me that Tonks is one of them, and I like Tonks, so there we go.
Nice.
Tonks has Tina vibes.
That's why I don't really like her.
I know.
I'm like, yikes, she's kind of a nightmare, guys.
No, she's so charming.
She's like a fun nightmare, though.
Okay, good. Andrew, who's your favorite new character that we meet in this?
I mean, I will always love Shacklebolt, but
We call him Kingsley here.
yeah.
Shacklebolt! Sorry.
But I still got to go with Tonks though.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love to see like a buddy cop, like spin-off, like a buddy cop thing of Kingsley and Tonks.
Klonks. Klonks.
Nope.
That would be the end of the first episode, would be Tonks being like, we should have a team name, like Klonks. No, absolutely not.
I believe what you want is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but
A little bit.
magic.
Okay, but that would be hilarious.
My favorite character that we meet in Order of the Phoenix is so stupid, but I really like the cunty portrait in Dumbledore's office, Phineas Nigelus.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, I forgot him.
He's
Oh
like an
my
asshole.
god. He's so good.
He was a headmaster
Master of
at Hogwarts, but he
yeah.
was also a member of the Black family, so he has portraits in both places, Grimmauld Place and Hogwarts, and he can go back and forth, and he's rude about it.
And he was the head of Slytherin House for a while, too.
Okay, last question, and then we have one email, and then we'll be done. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay, last question is, what's the thing you're like most looking forward to reading in this book? Like the thing that,
Dating.
yeah.
I mean, is really the draw of this entire book as an adult. It's because I feel like it's the one thing that this book gets real right.
Like,
You know what I mean?
way too right.
So I'm ready. I'm ready for teen dating.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
I love everything that goes down at Grimmauld Place.
Okay, yeah.
I love that energy.
I think I'm gonna go with the student anti-fascist militia. That's my favorite aspect of this movie.
Wow,
Okay.
this is all so on brand so far,
Yeah.
Tina.
My favorite is probably all of Fred and George's shenanigans because
Wow!
because
Right down the line.
We did it, guys! Just like they thought we
They're
would.
so consistent.
well, because they're doing a lot of stuff in the background of this whole book. They're like getting ready to break bad but go be entrepreneurs. So they're and they're hustling this whole time, and they're really getting it down. And they have like these cool fun products that they keep dropping, and then you're like, that's crazy, and then they're like, that's for sale. And it's just like really
I
fun.
like that energy.
They get in a fist fight at one point.
Oh,
George
man.
and Harry get in a fist fight specifically.
You know what? They both count.
Not with each other, with Malfoy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That makes a
It's
lot
a
more
three-way.
sense.
Your face was perfect, though. Just pure confusion and like, oh man, that was fantastic.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to read the last. It's not an email. It's an Instagram message from Amanda. She, her, hers. Amanda says, "Hello, I just discovered your podcast, and I know you're way ahead of this, but I'm listening to the Trapdoor chapter from book 1 right now. And I wanted to give my 2 cents on the how the fuck is chess transfiguration discussion. You'll remember we were like, how is this
Are these
transfiguration?
people? Yeah.
So my thoughts were always that McGonagall wasn't testing transfiguration, but testing critical thinking. The series sets up transfiguration to be a difficult subject because it's not like just doing a straight spell. There's a higher level of thought required to really be great at it. Every wizard has a basic level of transfiguration skills, so if she gave something to transfigure, it would be easier-ish to accomplish. But if she tested critical thinking logic, that really separates who is likely just normal versus skilled at transfiguration. Plus, McGonagall seems to me like the type of person who really admires solid critical thinking logic skills over just good grades. Like it's something that's both taught and natural."
I just realized
What?
that makes perfect sense because she and Snape have a lot in common.
And he did a logic puzzle.
He also did a logic puzzle, and I'm imagining it as a situation of, like, Dumbledore at the beginning of the summer being like, by the way, next year we are going to be creating a fucked up maze vault to contain an ancient relic. So I'm going to need each of you to come up with some kind of death obstacle. It can be related to your skill set, but it doesn't have to be. And just, like, bring an idea next year. And then, like, Snape went first at, like, the beginning of the school year meeting, and McGonagall was sitting there like, motherfucker.
Well, Flipwit also actually has some logic involved, too, because figuring out which key would fit that lock.
Yeah, but that's, like, decidedly a charm.
That's not really, like critical thinking. That's matching. 2-year-olds do that.
It was like problem solving, like you have to be observant enough to see that, like, oh, all the keys are different.
Right.
But, like, I think the main thing was, like, it's literally physically difficult because they're flying.
Yeah,
right.
It's not a logic puzzle the way the others are.
Right.
Uh-huh, great. I agree with everything that was just said. So I wouldn't have gotten through this critical thinking puzzle because my brain just stopped.
I'm just bad at chess. Like,
yeah, well, I think it's so fucking boring, dude.
I've never even tried to learn.
Have I mentioned at any point in our friendship that I was in chess club for 2 years in middle school?
I was as well.
Okay. So we're all having revelations, and it's not just me in the wave pool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was in chess club, and I was like, pretty committed to it. I was one of, like, the only girls. I think it was just me and maybe one other girl.
Ooh.
And I did it instead of going to after school care. This was before I got into theater, so you know, you can really decide which one was the better trajectory. But yeah,
more sex in theater, probably.
More.
You've become a more fun person in theater, I would say.
Yeah.
Those aren't wrong assumptions. But, like, learning chess strategy makes chess much easier unless you're playing it against someone who also knows chess strategy. But, like, if you don't know any chess strategy, you're fucked from the get-go if you're playing someone who has chess strategy. So I feel like it's almost not just critical thinking, because you also kind of got to know chess strategy, which is, like,
say chess strategy
a rarer subset of skills.
Like, I went through a checkers phase. I went through a big checkers phase, very lonely. Alabama shot.
Were you a Cracker Barrel gal? Because everything about Alabama checkers leads me to believe Cracker Barrel.
Wow.
Oh, no, on the rare occasion that I ended up at Cracker Barrel, which is what would happen, I did not go to Cracker Barrel. I ended up there.
Well, you're wrong.
I would play the little triangle.
The pegs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pegs. But no, I did, like, just when I had no friends at 10, I would just bully my parents into playing checkers with me or play checkers against myself. And that's about the level that I was on.
That's really sweet, babe.
I'm gonna have to have a sibling for this kid. I'm gonna just have to put myself through.
Don't go to Alabama and she'll be fine.
But only one, though, because I had 2 brothers and you can't exclude anyone. So we had to play Chinese checkers always.
I like Chinese checkers better, though, to be
I do too. It's
fair.
like easier and prettier. So thank you so much for that Instagram message, Amanda. You too can message us on Instagram.
If you want more sad/embarrassing stories,
just do it.
So are there any last words about Order of the Phoenix? Like we got anything? Are we all done?
I got nothing left in the chamber, homie.
Well, you got one thing left in the chamber. Ayo!
Pretty big thing.
Forcibly ejecting it soon.
Okay, cool. Well, let's move on to plugs. I have in all capitals here, brief plugs. We're experimenting with brief plugs this season. And if you're asking if it's because Leaf Glore said there's always 5 minutes of Netflix recommendations that they for some reason mislabel as plugs, it is. And it's because we do that. Haley, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm Haley. You can find me, if you must, on Twitter at @TheWrit2Wit. It's the scary doll face. And my plug is World Archaeology Magazine, because I'm old and I've taken out a subscription to a magazine about archaeology.
That's hot. Wow.
Thanks.
I love that for you.
I'm not like other girls.
Brooke, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Passion4Parks. You can find me on Twitter at GrumpyBrooke. And I would love to plug a book called The Taste of Sugar by Maricel Vera. It is a beautiful historical fiction about the Puerto Rican diaspora after American occupation.
Nice. Thank you so much for that recommendation. Andrew, what do you got to plug this week?
First, you can find me every 6 months on the Discord, so just join Patreon, and you will then be able to message me directly without me wanting you to. So you will be able to have conversation if you so desire.
You can pay to remove barriers to contact.
Pay to remove barriers to get access. There you go, baby. Capitalism. Woo! And then I will plug Hotel de Luna, a show that I found on Netflix that I absolutely loved and thought was really pretty.
Nice. Thank you for your recommendation. I'm Christina. You know where to find me. You can also recently find me on the Belated Binge podcast. I think my episode on that podcast came out last Thursday. You might remember Zach Haley from our longest episode ever, the Veritaserum episode.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, I was a guest on Belated Binge, so please check that podcast out. It's like also a very dope Harry Potter podcast, much like ours. And here's a couple random books I've read over the summer. Okay, I read the book Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell, which I enjoyed. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which everyone's been talking about, and I think it deserves it. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, a very cute little rom-com. Reread fucking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That shit slaps. No plot or character to speak of, but it's a great book. And I also read the Caraval series by Stephanie Gerber, which is like a very fun fantasy trilogy. So those are some books that I have read over the summer that I recommend to you. And I recommend that you go listen to Belated Binge. I recommend that you sign up for our Patreon. And thanks, guys, for joining me for the very first episode of season 5 and to get ready for Order of the Phoenix.
Do we say you're welcome? I never know what to say here.
Just say, yeah, like...
That's right!
All right.
You guys usually pretend you're really exasperated.
Well, I mean, I don't pretend.
Yeah, it's pretending, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those subtle mean moments.
I was gonna say, in case you're not catching on.
Okay, so I don't like the way we did outros last season. They're so contrived, so I've contrived a different outro. Tell me what you think. Before we go, I would like to say a few words. Hullabaloo, bumbershoot, flabbergast, schmooze. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Is it going to be the same words every time?
No, it'll be
different words every time.
That's delightful, actually.
Different fanciful words.
Because you get it because of the Dumbledore quote.
Yeah. Nitwit, Todd, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Todd.
Nitwit, Oddwind, blubber,
Todd.
tweak.
He was talking to Todd specifically.
Nitwit, Todd. Todd is the nitwit. Now eat. Dumbledore said calmly.
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the Restricted Section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook @RestrictedSectionPod, or in our Facebook group, The Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
What would you do if there was a terrifying prophecy about you?
Or you had to go on a perilous quest to save a friend.
Or everything you loved was in danger, and the world was about to end?
Whoa, slow down, Charlie. You know what to do when all that crazy stuff happens, right?
Call Ghostbusters?
No. You listen to Of the Eldest Gods.
Right. Sorry, Ray. Y'all can listen to our podcast about the Rick Riordan books.
We'll cover each chapter and talk about some of the fucked up mythological context.
And we'll probably get cursed by Zeus.
Let's hope that doesn't happen this season.
Catch Oteg on all your podcast platforms.
And eat some blue food while you listen.
Wish us luck while we survive the apocalypse.
Charlie.
What?
Brooke was so worried that we were going to catch on to the fact that she's secretly been a cyborg this entire time.
Deus Ex Media.